7:05, welcome to the Newmarket Energy and Environment Advisory Committee meeting of May 29, 2024. First item on the agenda is a roll call with Joe Lamartina here, Patrick Reynolds, Juliana, and Glenn Stevens.
Yeah.
What's the last name?
Tyson.
And what's it going to be?
I'm going to keep my name.
You're going to keep
yeah.
Tyson? Okay.
Yeah.
Tyson. Okay. 1, 2, 4. We do not have a quorum, so we can't make any formal decisions, but we can continue with our discussions. And this is something that hopefully we can come to a consensus. Next item on the agenda is the vice chair has tendered for resignation. So we do have 3 openings on the energy department. Recruit. You guys know anybody that?
I'm trying to get somebody. I'm hoping that'll come.
Okay, next thing, update on community power stats. So, in March, okay, we got some of these showing. In March was the last reading by Eversource. So as of the March reading, that was the last of the people on Eversource, and they started with Newmarket Community Power. So the bills that people got in April were the bills through March. Eversource bills people are getting in May are now Community Power. I will in the future be able to supply some stats on how much money switching to Community Power has actually saved residents over what the cost of Eversource was. But as a nice statistic to show. But anyway, as of the end of April, beginning of May, we have 4,068 accounts in Community Power. Basically, 4,047 are in the grant basic, which is the 23% clean energy. Of that 4,047, 3,911 were people that were initially signed up and stayed in the program.
Can I just hold you on there for one quick question?
Yeah, sure.
What clean energy source are you referring to? I mean, is there a giant solar grid somewhere or something, or?
No, it's a combination. It's a number of things. It's hydropower, solar power. It comes from multiple sources. Okay. And technically, when people are signed up for clean energy, whatever.
Yeah.
There's no actual guarantee that what they're getting, the energy that they're actually getting, is generated from 100% clean energy source.
Okay.
Okay. It's coming from gas and hydro, solar, whatever, biofuels, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. At the end of the year, they do an accounting. And during that accounting, they said, okay, how much clean energy were we supposed to supply? And if they didn't supply what they were supposed to supply, they have to go out and buy requisitions. Okay, so at the end, when it's all accounted for, they've accounted for 100% clean energy for St. Patrick.
Okay.
Gotcha. So, an interesting stat that 48 people have opted out of Newmarket Community Power for some reason, whatever. They maybe have solar. Forced into something.
I'm trying to think. We talked about this because remember, you had solar. You actually didn't opt out. You just didn't get the offer.
That's correct.
So it wasn't like I have solar. I didn't actively opt out. So those people might have actually opted out.
There were some people that have installed solar or whatever, and Eversource didn't have it. Had them as a regular customer, and they said, hey, they were notified. Said, you have that. You can opt out if you want to continue.
Okay.
And, there were some people that opted out, but then there were a lot of other reasons people may have been. Yeah, they work at Eversource. They may have signed on with the number account in the meantime.
Oh, right, they could have a contract with one of those
Right.
other groups.
So that's not bad. So 48 people opted out, but we've had 88 people that have opted to join. But we're in the plus side. Again, I hope to, in another month or two, it takes like 45 days, they say, for them to vote the whole thing. Community Power Coalition is in the process of switching from Google Docs to Microsoft 365, and also they're working on some their own couple IT people. So there are multiple reports that are coming out. The reports don't always balance that I've seen so far. But anyway, I hope in the future to have how much we're actually saving on Newmarket residents, as well as how much is actually going into reserves for future projects that the town might use.
I mean, I expect that when Eversource's current, it's a 6-month rate that you have, right? And then they can change that rate every 6 months. I'm pretty sure that we can all expect that our rates will increase, because we know for a fact that Eversource customers are currently getting a decrease in rate because of a correction that they were ordered to do by the PUC.
Correct.
So when that expires, they're going to raise the rates. I just don't have any doubt that they will, because, I don't think they would continue to charge below what they can actually charge, which is a higher rate. And then I expect the difference between Community Power and Eversource it's pretty small right now, but it'll probably go into a higher difference at that point.
Exactly.
I wonder if that would be a time to do another mailing.
That's the
say-
hope. Well, that's the interesting thing about the mailings. Two things. Yeah, I guess when new customers come in, I don't understand this. Well, I've asked on it, I still don't understand it. When new customers or new people move into town, they're automatically defaulted to Eversource. I don't know why they're not defaulted to Newmarket Community Power,
Yeah.
but so every couple of months, Newmarket Community Power Coalition is going to do a remailing to
Okay.
people.
Great,
So it is only going to be,
awesome.
and they are working on something so that people automatically get enrolled. in that.
Instead of doing Eversource, yeah.
They suggest in the meantime, I don't know, we do something with the town clerk or whatever, that when people come in and register their cars for the first time or whatever,
Yeah.
that they're informed that, hey, there's an
Yeah.
electric company.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so any questions on the stats? That's all I have at this one. Okay. The next thing is, something that I was hoping we could vote on or come up, but we can come with a consensus since we don't have a majority. So with this upcoming cycle or rate period, the new rate period begins in August, I believe, goes through July. Or it starts in July, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, it starts in August, okay. The new rates period starts in August. At the end of June, Community Power will come up with the new rate that is effective in August. Also, with this upcoming cycle, Community Power is in a position where towns can now ask to add on an adder rate or add an additional reserve, maybe like a 0.5 cent or something. That money goes directly into an account specifically for that town. So way back when we did the electric aggregation plan, part of the thing was that the town had to name an electric aggregation committee, and they assigned the Energy Environment Committee to be the electric aggregation committee. And it's our responsibility to recommend to the town council any changes and things to do related to community power. So I would like to have a consensus of the group that this, to say to the town manager and the town council, since we just went live for this upcoming billing cycle, that we do not add, or would recommend that we do not add any adder to the rate at this point in time.
I agree with that, Joe.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think we want to do that until, I think down the road, once towns have a little bit more time under their belt, we might go back to community power and see if there were some best practices that, arise, or some, policy that arises from this that might give us some indication about how to proceed with that kind of fee. I mean, I think potentially there could be something there. I mean, the one thing I think of is, we have New Hampshire Saves, right, that is partially funded by, I believe, utilities in New Hampshire, right?
Mhm.
If we were to have something like that in Newmarket that particularly could help people become more energy efficient, that's one thing that I could see us using, a fee for, is to improve efficiency. The other thing that I would have a question about, again, with other towns is there anything we could do to make the service in our town better? So, for example, is there anything we could do to maybe, even though we don't own the lines, to do a better job of preventing power outages? I think one of the most inconvenient things that anybody would talk about who doesn't have a generator is the fact that it's not uncommon for us to have a power outage. And it's most often caused by, a variety of things, but often it's caused by trees or something like that. If there was,
You've seen all the complaining about the tree cutting and the impact on the roads? Yeah. You don't see that on Facebook?
no, I didn't see that. What's that?
So the last week or so, they've, Eversource has, or somebody has been doing a lot of tree trimming along 108. They've been doing it like at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then so a lot of traffic backs up.
Well, they are supposed to do things. I could see why they would do that, because that's one of the main lines that goes between all the towns. So if the power gets knocked out on 108, it doesn't just affect Newmarket, it can affect multiple towns. So I can see why they're prioritizing that. But
So
I must just be lucky, because I don't think I haven't had a power outage yet. And I've been living here for 5 years.
I've been here 40-something years. We used to always have electric outages. The last couple of years, although last week or the week before, I don't know, we had a couple of power outages for like a half hour, 15 minutes, whatever. But the last number of years, up in Great Hill, we haven't had
yeah, I mean, we had
electric
one.
like us we used to.
We had one, not 23, but 22. We had one right around Christmas time that lasted a couple days.
Yeah.
We had one at Thanksgiving that I believe affected a lot of people in town. I wasn't here for Thanksgiving, but our people couldn't have Thanksgiving that year
Yeah.
because the power was out.
And on my street, we had electricity to my house, and then all the houses down. For some reason or other, half of my street, the electricity comes in one way, and then everybody else comes in from Main Street. And yeah, we were like the last house to have
And then, of
electricity.
course, Irene and Sandy were multiple days without power, like, if that was an extreme event. But, just a suggestion, again, I would defer to what, if Community Power Coalition has any ideas that would be
So,
suggestions.
two things. The rates right now, money goes into a reserve, and they're
Right.
keeping track of the reserve right now, but it's actually, the reserves are, company-wide.
Right.
Enterprise, whatever. Community power is in fact right now soliciting, what do we want to do? We're looking at a couple of things. One is potentially investing in a biomass company up in Northern New that company out. Name names, whatever. That's one option that they're looking at. Another is a solar farm, investing or partnering with the solar farm. But they are asking the member community, what do you want to do? Another thing I'll say is, the reserves that go, if Newmarket were to collect its own reserve, there's nothing specifically that I'm aware of that says what the town can spend that on. But
know.
other than it says, that it would do it with the consent of the town council. I would
Right.
think that the council would say, hey, you can't use the money to give raises or something like that.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people would then view it as a tax. If it was being spent on anything that wasn't related to power in and of itself, and that's why I would feel strongly that even before doing it, that I would want some kind of guarantee that it would only be related to, in some way benefiting the citizens of Newmarket in terms of electricity, whether it's power generation, so we can lower rates or create more resiliency in our system, or, like I said, I would be okay if there were some efforts to provide some efficiency to lower income or people on fixed income, because that's what New Hampshire Saves does, right? They help provide people to.
In Eversource, I don't know whether they do it with New Hampshire Saves, or I see a lot of ads for Eversource doing that.
And then also, I think the other option to look at would be, which Vermont has done with their utility, is the idea of deploying batteries, right? So that you potentially store up energy, and when you're at a peak time when there's a high demand, you can then deploy some of that energy, right, at the right time, so it keeps your costs down a little bit.
Yeah, that's another option. I was actually looking at.
Yeah.
Between the solar and the battery thing, I think those are the two.
Yeah, I think there are some sites in Newmarket, and you know that from being on town council, that have been suggested, but the problem is the interconnection is so difficult because our utilities and public PUC don't want to work with those groups to make interconnection easy. When you look at most of the projects, they're not happening in New Hampshire, they're not happening within Eversource's grid. Let's put it that way. There's very few. I know Durham has their project on the gravel pit that they did. I don't know, they did that about 10 years ago, I want to say now. But, so, the other thing would be to see if there would be any way we could make it cheaper for people to put rooftop solar on their houses, because that's actually the most efficient way to do solar in some ways.
Yeah, and you've been on the meetings and Zoom calls about net metering. As far as I know, it hasn't gone anywhere since. It's basically still where it was last summer.
Right.
They're working on legislation to make it easier, but basically everything is still where it was.
Right, but if you think about it, yes, the power is, you're an Eversource customer, but when you send power out to the grid, and it just goes into the grid, and then it goes into the house next
Yes.
door, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it really gets captured by Eversource in some significant way. They're not necessarily selling that power to the next person. It could be going right to a person who has community power, right? Because my neighbors probably have community power, and when I send power out into the grid, it's going to their homes.
So I think that's part of the problem right now is that who gets the credits or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
Eversource owns the line,
They're
Community
taking
Power has the
credits.
customer, you know, who gets what.
Yeah.
So that's part of the issue. Okay, all right, so the bottom line is everybody's okay with me, general consensus,
Yeah.
at the next town council meeting, that we suggest, recommend.
Table
And I think the
recommend, yeah.
council is all fine with that. The next agenda, okay, is Community Power Seacoast Clean Energy Challenge. So, there's a number of seacoast communities, Newmarket being one of them, Durham, Rye, Portsmouth, Exeter, and the other local communities, Dover is going to be there. They're doing a challenge type thing where they're asking the towns to promote or do a promotion or whatever to try to get people to upgrade to a higher clean energy product. Okay? Right now, like I say, most of our customers are in Granite Basic, which is 23%. So the contest or the promotion is going to run from August through December, and then in January we'll take a look to see who did what. It's going to be, as far as I know at this point in time, we just started talking, but there'll be a couple of categories. One is who gets the most number of people to upgrade to some, or percentage of people, because Newmarket, number of people in Newmarket, we have a number of people in Portsmouth. So it's a percentage of who gets the most number of people to upgrade. Another thing is of the people that upgrade, or there's going to be like a percentage of which one got the higher percentage of reductions in carbon. Okay, so I don't know exactly how they do it, but they can figure out by kilowatt hour. You know, if you had this many kilowatt hours before at 23%, and you now have this many kilowatt hours at 50%, you've done X number of pounds of carbon from, you know, going through it. So that's going to be another category. And then the third is, I think, was just a few categories. Most number of people that upgrade, who has the most people, or the highest percentage of people, including those that were already in an upper category. How many have total upgrade to the higher thing. So anyway, that's going to go from August through December. So I'd like the committee to think about, okay, how can we best promote this? And one of the things I was thinking about is that the backyard bash, if we had a little booth for community power,
I think we should anyway.
did somebody like try to get people to at least make them aware of it.
Yeah.
Another thing is that I can send out a sample flyer. Lebanon did this earlier. They had a sample flyer that they mailed out to people, urging them to upgrade, explaining why it's good to upgrade. I can send that to everybody. Community Power is willing to do a mailing. That's another thing. But we're going to go ahead and do it. Again, people can think of anything, any way of promoting it.
Yeah.
Well, I like your idea of doing it at the backyard bash. I think that's a good idea. We should find out about getting a booth there. I wonder if Amy charges for those, I'm guessing.
No, they don't charge for,
Town related.
yeah, town-related things.
So then we should see, does Community Power Coalition have any kind of swag that we can give out? It's always nice to be giving things
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
at those things. And then, yeah, I think it would be great to, we should come up with something that kids can do. Because that always brings them in. So like you have your booth for your information, and then you have some kind of little activity, maybe it's somehow related to energy that kids can see or play with or do, you know, because it is a family event.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love it if you can,
Let me think
all
about
you guys
that.
can think
Yeah,
about.
think about that.
I'm sure there's, a quick Google search will come up with a bunch of sustainable energy kids activities.
Yeah, we can come
Or
up with
coloring
something.
sheet that, you know, put, crayons out on the table.
That's true, yeah. We could do something, so we should definitely focus on that. We only got 2 more meetings before
Yeah.
that.
My thought is to either we have our own table, or if the Conservation Commission has a table, we are related in some way, that there's a combination. But if we have enough to display, it sounds like we should.
Yeah, I think we should have our own table just because we want to promote community power and Newmarket
I agree.
power. So, yeah. we should work on that.
Last year, the town council did one, trying to get volunteers for the different committees that we had.
Right, I sat at that table
Yeah,
for a while,
and,
yeah.
and one of the takeaways was, yeah, you gotta have something to give away or something, or,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
some
yeah.
kind of a game or something to, because we didn't draw a whole lot of people.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
we did get 3 people signed up for things.
Yeah, if they have pens or
Anything,
bottle
yeah.
openers or
Yeah,
anything.
ask them if they have
yeah,
anything.
Definitely reach out, yeah.
And then, why don't we put that on the agenda for next month?
Yep.
People should brainstorm on that and bring some ideas. And then we should also talk about, like, who would be willing to be at the booth.
I definitely would.
I would, but I'm not going to be here for the July meeting.
Date of the
I'll be out of town, I'm pretty sure. Oh, wait a second, it's July
End of July.
27th is when I'm coming back. And I think our meeting would have been the week before that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure when the
Yeah,
4th.
24th is the.
Yeah, is the 4th Wednesday, yeah. So we'll be here the 24th. gone.
last Wednesday.
Yeah, and that's 24th.
Oh, no, there's another one, July 31st is also on a Wednesday.
Okay, well then I will be here for that, so I could potentially do that.
What day is the backyard bash?
I didn't bring with me, August.
I think it's the following Saturday, isn't it? Like
That first
that
one?
first Saturday in August, is
Third?
that right?
August 4th, yeah, I believe that's,
Okay.
August 3rd.
Yeah.
Where is
it's-
it usually held?
Right at the high school there, in
Oh,
the
high school
field.
there.
Well, you know where the recreation center is?
Yeah.
Right in the field there.
Okay.
In front of where the softball field is and soccer field and all that.
All right.
In that field, we have it right there.
Okay.
I'll fill out the form for Amy to let her know that we
Yeah,
want to do
that'd be
something.
great.
And
Yeah.
then, I have a 10 by 10 pop-up tent to use.
Oh, great. Yeah, that would be awesome. And, yeah, we can figure it out, hope it's something.
Anything else? Okay, the next thing was the master plan energy chapter update. Lindsay sent a note saying she couldn't make it. I don't think there's been a whole lot of, I know they're working on it, but I don't think there's been a
I don't think
whole lot.
there's any update on that. We haven't even seen anything in the planning board. But I think the questions were received well, so that's good. So I think those are gonna go through, for the next questionnaire. So that's good.
And yeah, with autumn leaving, it says there's not much progression since.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Stratham Regional Planning Council is like, is in a little bit of upheaval.
Yeah.
I know a lot of staff leave, and then they had someone get hurt in an auto accident.
Oh, no.
I don't remember who that was. So they are really short-handed right now.
I heard that.
Yeah, we got that last night,
Autumn left?
I guess.
No, I hadn't heard that either.
Yeah, she did. She was living in I forget what Ellen said, it was Rhode Island or somewhere far away. So she was like, oh, well, you're not going to be sticking around long. So I think it was just a matter of getting yourself fully moved into a new job, yeah. Fortunately. So, the Conservation Commission is working on their own chapter at this point.
Hoping that we don't have to work on our chapter
Yeah.
because
No, I don't, yeah. I did, yeah. So I've got,
questions, comments?
I don't have anything.
Well, going down 108, there's a, it's near the golf course, there's a big wind farm on the left. Does anybody,
Wind farm?
no, solar farm, I'm sorry.
In Stratham,
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's Newmarket or Stratham.
that further, yeah, down by where the, past the
Oh,
golf course.
You're
but
talking about Circle Nursery, or
Yeah, near the-
Yeah.
Circle Nursery. Yeah, that's their private,
Is it?
yeah.
They must generate a crap load of power out of that thing. They've got gazillions of panels.
Yeah. Well, you should go, I don't think of how to tell you to get to the one that Durham has. It's actually in Lee. I think you go down 155, like you're coming towards, you know where all the UNH farms are?
Yeah.
It's down one of those roads, and it's on the right, and it's just an old gravel pit, and they just covered it with solar panels.
Really?
Yeah. But, I mean, the thing about it is, the more I talk to people, the more resistance I hear about, they like to say, well, I don't want to give up land for solar power. And honestly, if people deployed solar panels on just the roofs in the places where it makes sense, we could put a huge dent in the amount of energy that we actually need in this town.
You've got to come up with some sort of financial incentive though.
Right. I mean, there is, the problem is that most people don't have the, either they don't have the credit or they don't have the upfront cash. Because you do get 1/3 of the money in a tax rebate back. You get like 30% back when you install panels. 30% of the tax, or 30% of the cost can be written off of your tax.
Okay.
So it was, and then depending on how many panels you put on your roof or where you're directionally situated, you might end up with little or no electric bill the entire year.
Yeah.
So then it becomes a case of like, how much were you paying in electricity for a year versus what you might be paying to finance those solar panels. And for some people, it's a good deal because they maybe use a lot of electricity. But if you don't use that much electricity, maybe you don't have central air, or you heat with oil or propane, it may not be that great of a deal for you. But if you convert your heat to electric, then it starts to become more of an economic, it makes sense. So that's why up in Maine, they really focused on combining the two. So like every other state around us has programs to combine to get people to switch to electric heat and solar and batteries. They all have plans across their states where people can get rebates, significant rebates for putting those things in their home above and beyond what the federal government gives.
Yeah.
So like, I think Maine had a goal of putting 100,000 heat pumps. They've almost doubled that. I mean, and that's significant because electricity is a much more stable price than oil, right? Anybody who's ever heated with oil knows that if the oil prices go up, your heating bill can go up significantly,
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, it might cost you $1,000 a month to heat your home or something like that in the winter. That's not unheard of. So Maine's taking a lot of action, Vermont's taking a lot of action. Massachusetts, I think, is actually further behind those two states, and we're the furthest behind. We're by far the furthest behind, and with clean energy too. You know, the governor actually made a big announcement that we had done a great job of keeping power costs low, but everybody knows that we've been paying high rates for electricity until recently. So I don't even think that's accurate, but yeah. but yeah, I mean, most states are up past 20% for clean energy production within the state. Our neighbors are. We're not anywhere near that. I think we're at like 4% or something like that.
Okay, that's all I got. Anything else?
All right. Motion to adjourn?
All right, next meeting, July 31st, and I'll send them a note.
Oh, what about June? We have a meeting?
I'm sorry,
I'm the only
June.
doctor.
Next meeting is June.
Let's see, June